Thanks guys. Well, I thought I'd check out Realm of the Mad God, which is calling itself the first fantasy co-op MMO shooter. And now that I'm here in my comfortable home, apparently, I thought I'd have a look. The game began in 2010 as a Flash title, but it's now been released as a standalone for both PC and Mac. You've been transported to the realm of the Mad God Oryx, a randomly generated land populated by his many minions, and you'll have to slay enough of these monsters to gain entrance to the Mad God's castle and defeat him. Not an easy task. Playing more like a twin-stick shooter than a traditional MMO, Realm of the Mad God contains all the usual RPG elements like loot and XP, but combines them with the pacing of something more like a bullet hell shooter. Enemies looked especially retro as they roam around in packs, firing off colourful, deadly, pretty projectiles. It looks more reminiscent of something like an arcade game. You can also shift this isometric view around, which has a neat little 3D effect, and the whole thing runs smoothly, even on a really basic rig. When you start the game out, you'll just have one class to pick from, the Wizard. From here you're guided through a brief and humorous tutorial before being thrust into the Nexus Hub, a crowded safe zone where you're able to talk and trade with other players. Having so many players crammed into such a small place can make talking and trading with other players quite tricky. Fortunately, chat appears as speech bubbles above each character, and it's a nice touch that tends to sort out all of the chaos. From the Nexus Hub, you can transport out into the numerous realms, and once you do, you've got a couple of options to choose from. You can venture towards quest markers that point out mini-bosses, find other players to follow, or just go it alone and hope that you don't get completely overwhelmed. Luckily, if you do, you've got the option to teleport to other players on the map or back to the hub zone. That's if you're quick enough though, because if you die here, that's it. Yep, you heard right, permadeath. So should you stray too far off that beaten path and cark it, both you and your gear are gone for good. It might sound a bit harsh at first, but I found this mechanic really drives the pacing of the game, and it definitely gives it that just one more go feeling every time you die. With 13 classes in total, it's hard to resist trying them all out at least once, especially as each class has its own unique skill like a powerful attack or a group perk, and this leads to more traditional MMO class tactics like using tanks, healers, and damage dealers. Something else I really enjoyed was the mob mentality in this game. Having no PvP means that you'll automatically gravitate towards any other players that you come across along your journeys. Get a big enough group together and you'll turn into this unstoppable force that just rolls through the world, picking up more players and obliterating everything in your way. These are unofficially called trains, and they're a great way to quickly build your XP, not to mention they're heaps of fun. However, this fun can turn to panic once your group destroys enough monsters. Suddenly the world will start to shake violently and you're all transported to the Mad God's castle. And it's here that things can go very wrong, very quickly. The castles are more like instances. Everyone's bunched together and will have to work as a team to fight off much tougher enemies and even the Mad God himself. Teamwork with a large group of random people can be pretty tricky to pull off. Most of the time I was left just watching as our whole team got obliterated. The more I played Realm of the Mad God, the harder I found it was to walk away from, and I think this is because of how well it breaks down all those elements of an MMO into a really easy to digest concept. Honestly, I'm surprised at how engrossing this all became. If you've never played an MMO before because it all looks like a bit too much work, then Realm of the Mad God is a really enjoyable way to see what all the fuss is about without that steep learning curve or that nasty price tag.